All right. Hey, these are the three theories of slope evolution. To start with, we are going to look at downwearing or slope decline by Davis. Davis started in the humid tropics. When we talk of humid tropics, we are simply talking of the tropical rainforest. That is where he made his studies. So what does he say on slope evolution? Davis says, to start with, we have a flat terrain or a plateau. So what then happens is that this plateau experiences uplift such that it heaves upwards. When it heaves upwards, fault lines are created. This is the diagram which is showing fault lines that would have resulted due to uplift. After the fault lines have been created, then as water flows, it takes advantage of the fault lines. So on those fault lines, the river experiences deep incision or rejuvenation. The river deeply cuts so deep that very deep canyons that are irregular form with rock protrusions. This is the diagram which is depicting that. So we are saying, as erosion takes its toll, it cuts the river so deep up to when the river can't erode anymore. That is what is referred to as the basal surface of erosion. When the river reaches this basal surface of erosion, it erodes no more. So what will happen then is that whether again erosion on these irregular river valley cross profiles takes its toll. This is shown by this smoothened river valley profile. We are saying erosion takes place removing those irregular or jagged parts of our river cross profile. This creates a smoothened river valley cross profile as depicted by diagram D. That having happened, we are saying erosion will reducing the height of our land bit by bit or gradually as depicted by E. We have layer 3, 2, 1 up to when we end up with an undulating terrain. So at E, that is where this term downwearing comes into play. We are saying the land gets lowered bit by bit as erosion takes its toll. That's downwearing or slope decline because the slope angle is declining bit by bit. Then at the end, we end up with a wave-like nature of the terrain, which we refer to as an undulating terrain. With this undulating terrain, continued erosion materials up to when we have a flat terrain. That flat terrain is referred to as the peneplain. The process leading to the formation of the peneplain is called peneplanation. This having happened, we go back to we have gone to the original position. In other words, we are saying this theory is a cycle. It's a cycle. We have returned to where we were at first. Could we had a flat terrain, then fault lines created, deep incision takes its toll, river valley cross profiles that are irregular form, smoothed by erosion. After erosion is taken its toll, down by bit, our land gets lowered up to when we have a flat terrain. So this one is effectively the cycle of erosion. That having been done, we go on to the next, which is slope replacement by Peng. Peng started in desert environments. Then key thing that must note is that here we have a non-eroding river. Then we have a cliff and a plateau as depicted by the diagram. So Peng is saying, first of all, we've got a cliff and a non-eroding river. So what happens is that whether it takes place on the cliff, whether the materials are deposited at the base of the Piedmont Angle. After having been deposited, these sediments are not washed away because desert environments don't experience a lot of rain. So this exposes a new basal surface of our weathering, which is our layer 2. And then when it gets exposed, it succumbs again to weathering. Weathered materials fall at the base, masking or covering the Piedmont angle. Then another new basal surface of weathering is exposed, which again experiences weathering. As it gets weathered, materials get deposited. As they get deposited, they form a straightened angle, which is our debris slope. Okay, so we have a scenario where this cliff retreats back parallel to each other, a process referred to as backwearing. It's backwearing because this slope is retreating backwards, parallel to each other at the top, but at the base there is no removal of materials because this area is not well watered. Hence, the materials simply mask, creating this flat terrain. If the process continues over and over again, we have a scenario where this cliff gets removed completely and we end up with a straightened or a rectilinear slope. That's that as far as slope replacement by Peng is concerned. Then we have this last theory, which is referred to as parallel retreat. L.C. King borrows a lot from Peng in that we have a scenario where again these slopes are being weathered backwards, parallel to each other, but there are some differences that we are going to note later. Here, Peng says, here L.C. King is saying, we have an eroding river. Then we have a cliff again, and our plateau. So like Peng, L.C. King is saying, whether it takes place in one, whether materials are deposited at the base, but as soon as they get deposited, they are washed away by water. Look, Peng started in South Africa. South Africa is well watered. So as these materials get deposited, they are easily washed away by water into the eroding river. Then a new basal surface of weathering is exposed, which succumbs again to weathering. Weathered materials fall at the base. They are whisked by fast flowing currents into the eroding river. So we have a scenario where the cliff retreats parallel to each other from the top to the base, a process referred to as parallel retreat. We are saying it's parallel retreat because the slope is retreating parallel to each other from the top to the base, with materials being washed away because this region is well watered. Okay, this having happened, we have a scenario where a gentle plain extends from the base of the cliff or the Piedmont angle to the river. This flat plain or flat terrain is referred as the peneplain. The process leading to its formation is called pediplanation. Okay, if we are to take a scenario where the same process occurs on another river somewhere here, like this, we may first of all have a plateau. Then if you say this, if you say parallel retreat takes its toll on our plateau, that plateau can be reduced to a mesa. Then if you say that mesa again gets subjected to parallel retreat, it can thin out. At the end, we may end up with a landform referred to as a boot. Okay, then from a boot, if you say parallel retreat occurs again, we may end up with this scenario where this boot gets reduced to a mound. To a mound. Then, if you say whether it takes place on that mound, the mound can be flattened. Then we end up with a plateau. Then the process has to repeat itself because it's a cycle. That is that as far as these three theories of slope evolution are concerned. I sign out.